So talking resilience, because in the game of wellness, it's not something that we encounter a lot. A lot of people out there who really want to get well and be well, but don't have the resilience, or I guess aren't prepared to put in what we call the long game. Play the long game and think about being well as something that should be for the rest of their life and isn't a quick fix. And I guess where we see it most, and it was interesting because it was looking at some of the feedback you get from some of the comments on your keto posts, is around keto lifestyle. People find that to be something that's they always want those short-term results. Yeah, and I'm sure you've experienced it with the people you speak to.
It's interesting actually, because I think you can separate out resilience with the long game. So, and I think you're right. If you look at keto and look at lifestyle and look at what people want to achieve, a lot of people come to keto because the ketogenic lifestyle because they actually want to lose weight.
That's a big driver, isn't it?
I think that's my experience is that's probably the biggest or the number one reason that people find the diets.
Yes.
Isn't it? There's a statistic around there's the most popular diets and there's the most effective diets, but there's also the most searched diets. So on Google, I think the keto diet is one of the most searched or Googled diets.
Yeah.
And so I think what's happening right now, and I get it a lot, is people say, I've heard about this keto diet, I've heard that I can lose weight on it.
Yeah. And
so they just see it as the next diet, the next way to lose weight.
And the first problem is the word diet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The whole language going into it
Yeah.
is around, it's a diet.
Yeah.
And typically we go on diets. And when we think about a diet as a start point and an end point, how long are you on the diet for?
Yeah.
It's a 30-day diet, a 14-day diet.
Yeah.
So they're always expecting it to have a start point and a finish point.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is obviously very different to the keto lifestyle.
It's very different to the keto lifestyle. And I think that when you talk to people and you listen to what they say, they're looking for this short-term result. They're not thinking about this is for life. They're not thinking about this is something I'm going to do, which is going to improve my wellness. It's going to improve my health. It's going to improve my energy.
It's because it's not sexy.
Well, what's not sexy though?
Well,
the keto lifestyle.
No. But the weight loss, the weight loss is their sexy thing. That's what they want to feel good about. But you're right. They don't see the wellness side as sexy as that short-term instant gain, like their sugar fixes.
But do you think it's that they don't think it's sexy, or is it just that they can't see beyond getting the weight off?
I think they're, I believe a lot of people go into keto and they don't see that weight loss and a change in their energy is a byproduct of keto. It's not the driver. If you go into it as the primary driver is weight loss, or the primary driver is something in that physical, I want to feel better, more energy, weight loss, those short-term instant gains, then you're probably going in for the wrong reasons. If you go in for wellness and to fill your body with great food and to have more energy and more clarity and to sleep and all those benefits, and along the way, you're going to lose that unnecessary weight. But
I don't necessarily think it's going into it for the wrong reasons to say I want to lose weight. I think it's more that people are looking for a short-term benefit. So I don't see any problem with somebody going into keto because they want to lose weight. That's great. Keto, it has been proven time and time again that the keto lifestyle, not just the diet, the keto lifestyle and the keto diet, even the dirty keto diet, the lazy, all of these variants, it's been proven time and time again to be effective for weight loss. So I actually don't have any problem with somebody saying, well, I need to lose weight, therefore I'm going to do this way of eating, this diet, this life. I think that's fine.
But I have a problem with people saying, like, I've got a wedding in September or at the end of the year, I've got to lose 5 kilos. I'm going to do keto to lose 5 kilos.
I still don't have a problem with that.
I want to slap them.
No, but I don't have any problem with that at all. And I'll tell you why I don't have a problem with it. Because first of all, when they do it, they're going to get healthier. They're going to lose weight, they're going to get healthier. They're going to do it, they're going to get more energy. And there's a really good chance if they do it and they do it properly, they'll actually stick to it. Because what they'll find is they'll get that mindset shift in that period of time, that they get the light bulb moment and they say, hang on a second, this is something I could do every day of my life.
Yes.
I don't just need to stop when the wedding comes up. So I think I don't have a problem with that group of people, because I think that's really okay to start something just like you started every other diet in your life that's never worked. Because let's face it, for those people, those diets haven't worked, right? So they're probably going into keto with the experience of every diet I've ever done. Just think of that person, you know them. Every diet I've ever done, it hasn't worked, right? And so if you're that person, you're going to start keto with the same viewpoint, aren't you?
Yeah, true. That's their point of reference.
Because you and I, we've been on this journey for a long time, and we have had amazing results.
Well, it's okay. Go back to when you started.
But on day one, right? On day one, when we started, if I'd said to you, Mike, do keto,
yes,
you wouldn't necessarily have believed it.
No,
True?
absolutely not.
You know, so you came gradually to it, and you the benefits built up. The people I have more of a problem with is they say they're doing keto, but they want an overnight result.
Yes.
Right? So they want to take it, they want the diet pill, they want to do dirty keto and get the same result as strict keto. They want the result in 2 days or 5 days, and they're not prepared to give it time. So if you're going to go into this, it is a long game, and I see stages along the way. I see the very first stage is that first 30 days.
So when you started keto, when you switched from, I mean, you've always eaten healthily and you've always been very conscious of what you eat. But when you went from that to strict keto, how long did you know it was going to be a long game? How long did you start to feel, when did you start to feel the results, and when did you realise, or not realise, but when did you, I guess, start to know this is for life and isn't just a phase you're going through?
See, I think for me that journey took a year.
Wow, okay.
Right.
It's good to know, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
And that is the long game.
That's the long game.
Yeah. And you're always a good eater. So you ate, well, you've always known what to eat, and generally your diet's been fairly healthy, fairly clean.
Yeah.
Fairly clean, and you exercise regularly. So you're coming from a slightly different position than a lot of people when they go to keto.
True.
Yeah.
But there was still there was a long journey, and that journey hasn't ended. And I'll give you a few examples. If I go back to when I started with keto, so I had been on a paleo diet, and the only difference really, and probably the paleo people in the world wouldn't like what I'm about to say, but the only real difference between keto and paleo is that paleo allows more carbs.
Yes.
So you would eat things like sweet potatoes, and you can have rice, so you have some carbohydrates. So when I was doing paleo, I truly believed I needed carbs. I firmly believed I needed carbs to sleep, right? So I would, every night with my dinner, wouldn't have a lot because I couldn't tolerate a lot of carbs, but I would always have a source of carbohydrates. So I'd be having my sweet potato or my rice with my evening meal, and I was convinced that that was what made me sleep at night. And I used to get a bit hangry if I didn't get my carbs. I'd go out and I'd look for you must remember this, I'd go out and look for tortilla chips, some source of
Actually, now you mentioned tortilla, yes. Yeah, you did.
So wherever I was travelling to, I'd be going out to the supermarket or the local shop to try and get some clean carbs to have that evening to make sure I had my carb fix so I could sleep at night. And also at the time I probably used to drink a bit, so it was to absorb the alcohol and those things. And I was convinced keto couldn't work for me. And I started with exogenous ketone supplements. So I didn't change my diet.
You just added.
Didn't take away the alcohol, just added in the exogenous ketones.
Fancy word exogenous, what does it mean?
It means drinking some ketones instead of your body.
Sachets of ketones.
Yeah, mix up
water.
Mix up your sports sachet, drink them, and basically get ketones in your system instead of eating food that allows you to make ketones for yourself. So exogenous comes from the outside. And, I basically did that, and I did the exogenous ketones for a long time without making any changes in my diet. And they helped regulate my hormones, and they balanced my moods, and they sorted out the foggy brain, and they helped with some of the general issues that I had.
Yeah.
So I was on that journey for quite a long time, and then I decided at a certain point I was going to switch to full keto. And so I switched, and I gave up beer and I gave up my carbs and I really cleaned everything up. I wasn't looking to lose weight, so I didn't need to lose weight, but I got masses more energy. I did lose a little bit of weight. My body just toned up a little bit more. I didn't have the reliance on the ketone supplements anymore. But even then, and that was a long time ago, but even then, there was another 6 months where my body was still fully adapting and fully adjusting. So I think when you go from not being keto to being keto, you'll get some results in 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
Then you'll see more results in about 2 weeks, and you'll see a bigger result in a month because you've figured out how to eat. And that's why I think people don't realise that. So there's the first milestone. So when I'm talking to people and I'm saying to people, look, give it a month because you'll only really start to feel the effect within a month. But then give it 6 months because during that 6 months your body's going to transition, it's going to fat adapt, your palate's going to change. You'll actually find out which foods work for you and which don't.
Absolutely.
So my journey has continued, and throughout all that time I've continued to eat clean, I've continued to eat keto, but even with the expertise that I've got, I only just recently found out that I don't tolerate avocados.
Which you've been eating for years.
Which I've been eating for, and they're a staple
The
keto food.
cornerstone of keto foods, yeah.
Everybody loves avocado, and what do you do if you're on keto? You'll load it with avocado because it's a brilliant way of getting fats in.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful with everything. I have so many recipes, right? My filled avocados, my avocado smoothies.
And the great news is I'm not intolerant.
You can have them all.
So I can cook avocado for myself. I can eat your portion of avocado, which is great.
But it is, and that's the thing that it's very difficult. I think when I started my journey, I didn't appreciate all this. So I started with keto. Nobody could have convinced me it was going to take so long. But over the course of that time, and especially recently, we're finding that avocado problem. That's just banished the little bit of gas and bloating that I continued to have. It probably took, and bit of a gross subject, it probably took 1.5 years for my gut to heal and my bowels to be, in good working order, like they were when I was in my 20s. It took, I think, 8 to 9 months before I was truly fat adapted. I was doing great on keto, and I measure my ketones and I get great readings, but I don't believe I was truly fat adapted.
Yes.
So these are changes in your body. These are not overnight changes. And I always say to people, you've got to give your body a good amount of time for these changes to take place, and then to feel the benefit, and then the next change to take place. Give yourself a year.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, this whole keto diet, keto lifestyle, it's a long game. And then when you get to that point, and when you've been there for a year, you realise how amazing it is. And at that point, you're saying, I'll never go back.
Yeah, it's almost like even as the you might think about the year, but after a couple of months, you start to feel so good. You can, when you start the keto lifestyle, you may not think of yourself actually surviving a year. This is a long time away, but month 2, month 3, month 4, it becomes, wow, this is so good. I feel, for me, it was staying awake. So for me, I used to fall asleep. I was notorious at any social gatherings. In the evening, I'd fall asleep. As soon as I stopped moving, I'd fall asleep. I just didn't, or I'd get angry. I'd have those spikes of up and down. And so keto has completely revolutionised it. I now have constant high levels of energy. I no longer have those cravings for food or for carbs, which I used to have from the old days. So for me, one of the turning points was noticing that I didn't fall asleep. My friends would come over and we'd sit around the couch and we'd watch TV, and I used to be the first one to sleep. As soon as something came on, I'd be like nodding off, and that stopped happening. And I was awake, and other people were falling asleep, and it was getting to late in the evening, and I was still bursting with energy.
Right.
And it was that point I was like, okay, there is something in this. And then it's almost those little things that start to happen that motivate you to say, you know what, this is a complete lifestyle. This is something I never want to go back to falling asleep. I never want to go back to, and so it's almost like I could never think of having a diet or eating the same way I used to while I fell asleep. So.
And how long did it take, for that?
It was
for that
probably
to happen?
It's probably about 6 to 8 months after I started the keto lifestyle. because I'm not a details person, as you probably know. I started to notice it, and others started to notice. Others used to say, "Mike, you're still awake." Yeah, it was the joke. I was the butt of the joke of you used to fall asleep. You're still awake, and you don't have to stand up to stay awake at a party.
Right.
You know, you can sit down with everyone else and have a wine or a chat, or and not fall asleep. Where I used to have to stand up and walk around, otherwise I'd fall asleep. And I started noticing others did, and it was just one little element in a whole journey that was like, that's a very good reason to never go back to the old way of eating, because that alone was such a big thing for me.
That's
to have that energy.
That's radical for you.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It was such a big thing. I mean, I had sleep. I had sleep tests. I had nap tests. I had I had a lot of analysis done to find the cause of my problem when it came to sleep, because it was continuous. And I used to, in extreme times, I'd fall asleep during a phone conversation, and there was a worry that I could fall asleep operating a vehicle. So in my early days, it was quite severe, and then it sort of plateaued, but it was always there. Whenever I stopped moving, whenever I laid down, sat down, rested any time, I'd fall asleep very, very quickly. Yeah. And so the only thing that has actually cured that completely is the keto lifestyle. Now I just don't. I can sit for long periods, I can study for long periods, I can read for long periods, any time of the day, and not fall asleep.
And so that to me, that's the perfect example that you didn't go into the keto lifestyle.
I went in for weight loss for my hips and thighs and the wedding in September because I just want to look beautiful.
And how much weight did you lose?
Okay. Well, if I wear my black strapless dress, no, I'm probably about 12 kilos overall.
About 12 kilos?
12 kilos. I didn't need to lose a lot, but 12 kilos. I'm not big.
You're not a big guy.
So 12 kilos was all that puppy fat and all the good, the good socialising and everything. Yeah.
So, you went into it for other reasons.
I did.
And after 6 to 8 months, you got this amazing benefit that's changed life.
That I never thought, I never thought for a second what I ate could be anything to do with my sleep apnea or anything to do with my sleep conditions. It makes sense now, and it's so bloody obvious now.
Yeah.
But back then there was not even a thought in the back of my mind as to why I'm doing keto.
And that's why it's a long game, right?
It's because
that for you now, that radical change compared to where you were, it's huge. You'd never go back. And it is a lifestyle. It's the thing that is going to set you up for life. You'll do forever, and you'll be on this journey forever. But when you started, you didn't know that. So that group of people who are out there, who are thinking about it, I'm always saying to them, just stick with it. The benefits will come, but they won't come overnight.
Absolutely.
Stick with it for the long game.
High fives to the keto long game.
Woohoo!